day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking in the Word. Hey, as we're going through Leviticus, we are in chapter 21 today and jumping over into chapter 22. And yesterday we talked about a higher standard for ministers. Today I want to talk about representatives of the holy. The priests were representatives of God and what was holy. So the things they did were set apart because they represented the holy. So there were certain things that they couldn't do, and if they had certain defects in them or ailments, leprosy being one, okay, if they had that, they were excluded from being priests, okay, and so just because they were representatives of the holy, okay. So we'll go through this here today, and this is Leviticus chapter 21 verses 16 all the way to chapter 22 verse 16. So it's a little bit longer today, so fasten your seatbelts because we are going for a ride here. Verse 16 of chapter 121 says this: The Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, for the generations to come, none of your descendants who has a defect may come near to the food of his God. No man who has any defect may come near. No man who is blind or lame, disfigured or deformed. No man with a crippled foot or a hand, or a hunchback, or a dwarf, or who has any eye defect, who has a festering or running sores, or damaged testicles. No descendant of Aaron or priest who has any defect is to come near to present the food offering to the Lord. He has a defect, he must not come near to offer the food of his God. He may eat the most holy food of his God, as well as the holy food. Yet because he has the defect, he must not go near the curtain or approach the altar, and so desecrate my sanctuary. I am the Lord who makes him holy. So, if you had any ailment, say like I was injured in an accident and I had one of my eyes was poked out and I had a patch over my eye, I was disqualified from being a priest because I was representing that which was holy. And so I was not to be making the sacrifices and so forth. I was welcome to eat that meat because I was still in the priestly family, however, but I was not permitted to actually do the sacrificing because I represented what was holy. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Let's move on to chapter 22, or it's where in verse 24, actually 21, it says, So Moses told this to Aaron and his sons and to all the Israelites. The Lord said to Moses, Tell Aaron and his sons to treat with respect the sacred offerings the Israelites consecrate to me, so they will not profane my holy name. I am the Lord. Say to them, for generations to come, if any of your descendants is ceremonially unclean, and yet comes near the sacrifice offerings that the Israelites consecrate to the Lord, that person must be cut off from the presence. I am the Lord. Okay? So if you come to the sacrifice and you're unclean, and you haven't cleaned yourself up beforehand, then you're to be like excommunicated. If a descendant of Aaron has a defiling skin disease or bodily discharge, he may not eat the sacred offering until he is cleansed. He will also be unclean if he touches something defiled by the corpse or anyone who has an emission of semen, or if he touches any crawling thing that makes him unclean, or any person who makes him unclean. Whatever the uncleanliness may be, the one who touches any such thing will be unclean till evening. He must not eat any of the sacred offerings unless he has bathed himself with water. When the sun goes down, he will be clean, and after that he may eat the sacred offering, for they are his food. He must not eat anything found dead or torn by the wild animals, and so become unclean through it. I am the Lord. The priests are to perform my service in such a way that they do not become guilty and die for treating it with contempt. I am the Lord who makes them holy. No one outside a priest's family may eat the sacred offering, nor may the guest of a priest or his hired workers eat it. But if the priest buys a slave with money, and if the slaves are born in his household, they may eat his food. If a priest's daughter marries anyone other than a priest, she may not eat any of the sacred contributions. Okay, so she's outside of the family if she marries someone outside the priesthood, and she can no longer get that food. But if the priest's daughter becomes a widow and is divorced or is divorced and becomes a widow, and she returns to live in her father's household, as in her youth she may eat the father's food. No unauthorized person, however, may eat it. Okay, so the daughter, she gets married to someone who's not in the priestly line, not a Levite, and when she does that, or from the tribe of Levi, when she does that, she's no longer allowed to eat the food. However, let's say her husband dies and she comes back to live with her father, then she's welcome to eat that food again. Verse 14, anyone who eats a sacred offering by mistake must make restitution to the priest for the offering, and add a fifth of the value to it. The priest must not desecrate the sacred offerings the Israelites present to the Lord by allowing them to eat the sacred offerings, and so bring upon them the guilt requiring payment. I am the Lord who makes them holy. Okay, I read all that to show you there's a difference between the priests and then the regular people, but then also if the priest has any defect, and some of these things are permanent defects. Okay, if I have an eye that got poked out, that's a permanent defect. I can never be involved in the sacrifices. However, I may have some of these things that I may have touched a dead body. Okay, that makes me unclean, but I can wait till the next day, bathe, clean myself all up, and then I can do that. So in all these instances throughout this whole thing, it's God's picture of showing how he wants the priest to be separate in the way they present themselves, but then also it's because they represent what's holy. Okay, and so God was saying you need to treat this position with all respect and hold yourselves to a higher standard, even to the point of you need to comb your hair and not look like you just woke up in the morning and show up to start doing sacrifices. You need to be presentable and take care of yourself really well, and because you're representing what is holy. Okay, so that's it for today. Representatives of the holy. All right, thanks for watching. I'm just a regular dude walking in the Word, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow as we continue our journey through Leviticus. Lord's blessing. I'll see you then. Hey, good day to you. This is Todd. I am a regular dude walking